Hey gang, it's Jordan, the Video Game Music Alliance, and this video is called How to Place Your Studio Monitors for Better and More Consistent Mixes. I toyed around with different titles that seemed the most concise to get the point across, but I could have said a checklist for placing your monitors to ensure accuracy, or how to tell how your monitors are lying to you because they're lying to you. We just have to figure out how so we can compensate. The impetus for this was Stephen Malin suggested I read this book, Mixing Secrets for the Small Studio. That's just chapter 1 I'm doing a video on. I have learned so much for this. I want to recommend it to you as well. It's concepts I was somewhat familiar with. I just didn't give enough attention to or thought through. And so now it's got me seeing things in a new way already, and I want to share that with you. The big idea philosophically, I remember being a kid and talking to friends, and when it came to the colors we see, you've ever asked this question when you say, hey, when you see orange, how do you know what you see as orange is not actually green, or what I see as green? And what you call orange has always been green. You've just been trained to call it that. The big idea is, how do we know our eyes aren't lying to us? That maybe we see things differently and we're so used to it we don't know the difference. That's kind of the idea I want to have with our monitors today, is this suspicion that, hey, maybe they're not telling us the truth, and worse, we're so used to it, we don't know the difference anymore. And I'm so used to hearing these low frequencies boosted artificially that I mix accordingly. And it's that problem where you do the car test, and it's like, hey, whatever I heard in my studio is no longer accurate out in the real world. I'll try my mix of a track on different systems, and I'll be horrified thinking, was I so fatigued? Was I so tired that I really produced this mix? Or maybe the environment I was in, and in this case, the placement of my studio monitors, deceived me, set me up for failure. And so what I want to do is give us all a checklist to go through to make sure, number one, we're setting up our monitors for the best accuracy we can in the room and studio we are in without breaking the budget. And really today is mostly going to be about how you place your monitors. And then with that, to understand how our studio is lying to us so we can then compensate in our mixes so we have a more consistent mix going forward. So getting to the checklist, the first thing you want to check is how you have mounted your studio monitors. Really what you're looking for is stability. They have to be as firmly fixed as possible. If the monitors move in sympathy with the subwoofer and the speakers, it's going to mess with what you hear, and especially the low end of your mix. So what you want to do is get these speakers elevated in some way. You don't want them just sitting on your desk where they'll resonate with other objects around them, and even shelves won't work. What you'd love to get is dedicated speaker stands. There's some that stand alone, there's some that affix to the hardware of your desk. I'm actually saving right now for these on Amazon, getting some side money together so I can do the same. Even if they're light, you can put some sand in hollow ones to keep them heavy and firm. You can put a paver, a paving slab of some kind on it to keep it fixed. You want these things to have as much inertia as possible so they stay consistent and unmoved as you put them through the paces. That alone is going to help you as you decouple them from the desk or the surface, and you'll minimize the transmission of physical vibrations to other resonant objects. So you want your monitors elevated and fixed. Number 2, you're going to want to check the geometry of your stereo setup. This one seems obvious, and you've probably heard you want the equal triangle, but have you ever really stopped and measured it? I did, and I was off. So much so that it wasn't a reliable set of information in the stereo image coming to me. So you want the speakers to be equal distance from your ears. And then that same distance each speaker is to your ears, you want them to be the same distance from each other. Maybe your monitor setup makes that an issue. You can go stacked with your monitors rather than wide if it helps. Additionally, if you're going to air, you want to be closer together rather than further apart. So if you've got these things, on one side of the room and the other, you're messing with the stereo image you are hearing in that sweet spot you should be sitting in. So try to position as well your desk in the room where it's symmetrical, in that you're going to have sound bouncing off the walls, and you want all that stuff to somewhat be equidistant. And so center yourself in the room so you can maintain an even image of the stereo sound around you. One other idea to think about is line of sight. I've seen some setups where studio monitors are tucked behind visual monitors or other things in the room. High frequencies especially are very directional. And so you want to aim them directly at your listening position. If you can't see it, well, then you can't accurately hear it. So a simple rule of thumb is you want to be able to see the monitors, see the drivers, and if they're being covered by anything, then the sound's being shadowed as well by that object, especially the higher frequencies. Checklist number 3 would be to place your monitors vertical as opposed to horizontal. Reading forums online, this is somewhat controversial, but most of our monitors are designed to be stood up, not laid down. And I know it's a pro look and stuff for some people in their studios, but here's the problem. Most near-field monitors are designed to be vertical. So if you lay them horizontally, what you're doing is you're separating the drivers, the woofer and the tweeter horizontally. And if you think about those two coming at you stacked, that works. If you lay them sideways, they're coming in different spots. And so even if you could somehow find the sweet spot of 4 different things coming at your ears, 2 from each monitor, 2 drivers from each monitor laying on their side, the second you move, you lose it. And so you're going to want to stack these as well so you don't get the crossover comb filtering effect, which is really going to lie to you and cancel out certain frequencies. So stack your monitors, don't lay them down. One other thing that seems obvious, but again, make sure with your seat and with your monitor placement, the tweeter's at the same level, height from the floor as your ears. Sometimes people put them way too high, or just because of the ergonomics of the room, they're too low. You want that driver direct level on the same plane with your ears. Check number 4, and this is one of those where it's do as I say, not as I do just yet. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with this. The way I have my room set up is my desk is crammed up against the wall, and so there's a boundary effect, and it makes sense. I just didn't really think about it. The closer a speaker is to a wall, the more, especially the low frequencies, are going to get built up and lie to you. Sometimes my mix seems so boomy in my studio, and I go to the car and there's no bass whatsoever because I EQ'd it out because I was worried it was too high, and it's really just the fact that my monitors were too close to the wall. Double that if you've got them in a corner. That's 2 walls, so you got twice as much. Thankfully, the Atom Audio 7s I'm running with, they've got on the back some EQ switches, so I've just taken my bass range down, and that helps. Also, if you have a port, that's going to be that little hole on the back of the monitor that's supposed to help bass resonance. Sometimes it may just help in marketing, but either way, if that bad boy's up against the wall, then you are all the more being lied to about the low end of your mix. So if you can, move them away from the wall as much as possible. Move your whole setup away from a boundary like a wall as much as possible. If nothing else, EQ the back of your monitors so you get a more accurate mix. This is, again, is understanding how your reference is lying to you so you can then compensate for your mix. And check number 5 has nothing to do with the monitors, but everything to do with the environment they are in. That is the room test. Now, most of us don't get to pick or design the room we're in. This is my office. This is a multi-purpose room. My wife uses it. My kids are in here all the time. My music stuff's in here, but also my day job stuff is in here. And so you do what you can. That said, according to Mike over here in our resource, we should be spending about a third, if not more, on the room we're in than the monitors we're using. Sometimes we just buy the monitors and we think that's enough, but again, they could be lying to us. So long story short, a few things you want to do is understand the resonant frequencies in your room. what's bouncing off of where and how you're hearing that, what notes are disappearing, and which ones are just going crazy into orbit. You can get a sine wave file that just kind of moves up the frequency range. And what you want to do is start paying attention to when certain tones sound really, really loud and when others sound really, really low, and start to get an idea of, okay, wait. Like, my low end was really quiet through that octave or whatever it may be. How do you fix it? Well, again, we're limited, but there's some easy things you can do. First, you want to get some bass traps. There's high density mineral fiber, different things. I actually used it in the wall when I was building this house, and so I'm going to go get some more. I'm going to put some fabric around them and just put them in certain spots, especially on the back wall and where I can on the side walls, just to catch some of that low end jumping around. And then as far as the high end, you can see the bookshelf behind me. They actually said, and I was glad to see this, fabric like those chairs, books on a shelf, as long as they're not completely symmetrical, you don't want them to be. You want that stuff to kind of be a catch for some of the sound directly behind you. So a setup like that could actually be helpful. But then as well, you can get some acoustic foam as an early reflection point to catch some of that and quiet the room down. Don't go nuts. You don't have to plaster your entire room with that sort of things, but you'd be amazed at how just a few of those can really help control the environment you're in. All right, so that's your checklist of just 5 items. Number 1, consider how your monitors are mounted. And are they resonating? Are they vibrating? Are they sitting right on the desk and causing all these different frequencies? So get them on stands and isolated and firm if you can. Number 2, the geometry is there's this equilateral triangle set up for you. And are the monitors at the right height for your ears with that? Number 3, are they standing up and designed to be standing up? Don't lay them down if that's the case, so you've got that sweet spot correctly. Are you up against a wall? Number 4, if so, you're having this boomy low end that you really haven't earned, and so be aware of that. And number 5, your room. What frequencies, what frequency range is being masked or boosted, and are you doing anything to try to block that and catch some of those in the room before they come back to your ears? I hope that was helpful. Again, everyone's setup, everyone's studio, everyone's budget is different, but the consistent thing is we're all being lied to. Even the most high-end, right, studio environment, there's lies being told. You just want to know about them so you can then compensate. And if you can do that and be like, hey, yeah, because these are so close to the wall, my low end is being too boomy, I'm not going to pull it down in the mix. And then when I go to my car, I'm no longer ashamed. And I can start putting out more consistent mixes from understanding how my monitors are lying to me. I hope that checklist helps. I'm in love with this book. I'm already into chapter 3 right now. I'm going to keep cruising. And if I come across any more juicy tips, I'll be sure to share them with you. All right. Again, I'm Jordan with Video Game Music Alliance. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.